מזמור לדוד, אדוני רואי לא אחסר. בינות אשר ירביצני על מי מנוחות ינחלני. נפשי שובב, ינחני במגלי צדק למען שמו. גם כי הלך בגצל מוות, לא ירא רע, כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני את שולחן נגד צורריי. דשנת בשמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדיפוני, כל ימי חיי בשבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. I've chanted for you the words of our 23rd Psalm. At these moments when our hearts are aching, when we are feeling the need for comfort and consolation, we often turn to the psalmist. And so I ask you now to recite these words with me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember her. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember her. In the opening buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember her. In the blueness of sky and in the warmth of summer, we will remember her. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember her. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember her. With every sip of Belvedere, we will remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember her. And when we are lost and sick at heart, we will remember her. When we have joys we yearn to share, we will remember her. So long as we live, she too will live, for she is now a part of us, as we remember Marlyn Ornstein. To her sister Diane and sister-in-law Jean, and to numerous and very much loved nieces and nephews and great-nieces and great-nephews. To all the members of the family and so many dear and cherished friends, we've come together today to remember, but also to celebrate this wonderful life, the life of your beloved Marlyn. Our sages in their wisdom have taught us that birth is a beginning and death a destination, but life is a journey. From childhood to maturity, from youth to age, from innocence to awareness, and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then, perhaps, to wisdom, from weakness to strength or strength to weakness, but often back again, from health to sickness, and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, and from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, from grief to understanding, and from fear to faith. From defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning and death a destination, and life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. Marlyn's journey began in Youngstown, Ohio. She was born on February 7th, 1935, and was the youngest of 3 children born to Wayne and Jenny Warner. Marlyn and her sister Diane and her brother Bob of blessed memory grew up in Petersburg, Ohio, a small farming community, and these 3 siblings were very close. It's interesting to note that the town of Petersburg was founded by Marlyn's great-great-grandfather, Peter Musser. Diane, you told me that you are the guardian of the deed, which is actually inscribed on sheepskin. The deed for the town, a deed which is signed by President Thomas Jefferson and Secretary of State James Madison. Diane, you also shared stories with me of a small town, a town with no streetlights, and where everybody knew everybody. Your family was close-knit, and your extended family, the Warner family, also very, very close. And Diane, you and Marlyn were just 18 months apart in age, and you were her sister, of course, but you were also like a little bit of a mom to her. And the two of you always, as children, as young adults, and throughout all of these years, the two of you were always the best of friends. Growing up, you and Bob and Marlyn were raised by your father. When you were younger, your mom made all of the clothes for you and your sister. She liked to dress you like twins. And Diane, you remembered that with your sister, there were so many childhood activities, including roller skating and ice skating, square dancing every Wednesday night, and swimming in the creek, or should I call it the crick. Your sister attended Springfield Local High School, where both of you were involved as majorettes and cheerleaders. And Diane, you shared that Marlyn was an excellent student. Following her high school graduation, she matriculated to Youngstown State University, where she earned an associate's degree in business. And this was at a time when very few women were attending college, especially business programs. Marlyn, your little sister, was a real trailblazer. At 21 years young, Marlyn moved to Cleveland to pursue her career, and her very first job was at Damon Insurance, working as a secretary. Marlyn's education never stopped, and she continued educating herself in ways of the insurance business. She worked hard, and she landed a job as an insurance agent for IMG. She was the first woman hired by IMG and among the first female insurance executives in Northeast Ohio. Along with her busy career came a very busy social life. Marlyn had many good friends, and it was through these friends that she was introduced to Marlyn Ornstein. Warren and Marlyn socialized together. With this large group of friends, they enjoyed skiing together, but it was a friendship, just a friendship, nothing romantic. It wasn't until years later, when Marlyn was somewhere in her early 40s, that she and Warren actually started dating and found love. They married in 1978, and as a couple, they enjoyed a beautiful life together. With Warren, Marlyn discovered Judaism, and she chose to live a Jewish life and was welcomed into the faith through her conversion. In their 31 years of marriage, Marlyn and Warren enjoyed their family and so many dear friends. They also thoroughly loved the game of golf. Whether they were golfing across the country or here at home at Beechmont Country Club, The golf course was always a happy place for Marlyn and Warren. Beechmont was a very special place for both of them, and Marlyn became very involved in many leadership roles there. She even served as the president of the Cleveland Women's Golf Association at Beechmont. And, as Stuart Berkowitz, one of our directors here at the funeral home, just told me, she was the first woman ever to serve on Beechmont's board of directors. We can see in Marlyn's life there were a lot of firsts. She was not afraid. Marlyn and Warren also enjoyed traveling, sometimes with friends. They visited Mexico many times, went to Chautauqua. They loved to go to Warren's alma mater, Dartmouth College. They loved to visit the Hamptons. And the home that they made together, their home was always a warm and welcoming place. I'm sure all of you here know that and experienced being welcomed by them. They opened their home to many exchange students from all over the world, and they treated these students as if they were their own children. Now, Marlyn's nieces and nephews and great-nieces and great-nephews. I've been told by a few people, quietly, under their breath, that they were Marlyn's favorites. But I found out who her real favorites are. I'm not going to mention their names, but they know who they are. We'll let you fight about it later. She made all of you feel like you were her favorite. You had a very special place in Aunt Marlyn's heart. She loved you so much, and she was kind and generous with you. She never missed a birthday or your graduation or a holiday. Aunt Marlyn would often put little cash gifts in envelopes when you were away at college. Whether in her presence or out of town, you always felt her love, and you always knew that she was thinking about you. The family, the extended family, you two were always so welcomed at Aunt Marlyn and Uncle Warren's home. They adored all of you. There was their annual Thanksgiving feast that they hosted each year. It was a very special time, and we'll call it the feast. Could take hours before anyone left the table. This is because you would go around the table, and everyone would take a moment to state what they were thankful for. And then there were the stories, and the jokes, and the laughter, and these made for the best family memories. As important as each and every one of you were to Aunt Marlyn and Uncle Warren, we all know who their real children were. The cats. Mr. Six, Pie Wacket, Nako, Bo, Miso, Kiki Kardashian, Coco Chanel, and then one cat that we'll just call Blackie the Stray. These cats lived the most awesome life. The entire family will agree with me that should you have a chance to come back after this life, you all have said in your own way you'd like to come back as Aunt Marlyn's cat. Uncle Warren wanted dogs. When they moved into their home, he was going to get a couple of dogs, but Aunt Marlyn wanted cats. In an attempt to appease her beloved Warren, Marlyn got 2 harnesses, and Warren would actually go and walk the cats. After 31 years of marriage, Warren died in 2009. These past 10 years, Marlyn did all she could to continue living an active and very meaningful life. She continued meeting with her special group of insurance women, and she kept up with her treasured friendships that she had with so many dear people. She continued to enjoy her Belvedere on the rocks, and I'm told some of you enjoyed that earlier this morning. Our tradition when we raise a glass is we say one word, and that word is l'chaim, which means to life. And I'm sure she appreciated you toasting her life today. Marlyn had an effect on people. She made a lasting impression on so many, and I think so many people liked her and loved her because she was truly interested in you. She wanted to know more about your life and how you were doing. Even when she was in the hospital, the calls, the visits, and I don't mean just the round-the-clock visits, with her sister Diane, her niece Radine, other nieces and nephews who came by. But I'm saying her hairdresser came to the hospital. The woman who cleans her home came to the hospital. The receptionist from her nail salon these past few months would pick up groceries for Marlyn and help her in the home. Her Uber driver, who became a best buddy to Marlyn. He helped get her to her appointments. He brought in her mail. If there was a branch that had fallen down in the driveway, he would remove it. She had an effect on people. People wanted to give back and do for her. Marlyn was a member of the Temple Tifereth Israel, a congregation where I serve as cantor. I had the privilege of visiting Marlyn the day before her passing. Surrounded by Diane and Radine, I had the sad privilege of singing to her, hoping that the words and the music added a feeling of peace and calm. We know these last few months were quite challenging for Marlyn. She faced these months bravely. She is now at peace. And so together we join with the sages of our people as we declare, Zichrona Livracha, may the soul of Marlyn Ornstein and all the good deeds that she performed here in the land of the living, may these always be our blessing. And to this we can say, Amen. Our tradition also teaches us that words which come from our heart enter directly to the heart. I would like to call up one of her favorites, her niece Rhonda, who has words in her heart to share with all of us.
On behalf of the family, we'd like to thank everyone for being here today. I thought it was rather appropriate that they celebrated National Women's Day this week because Aunt Marlyn was quite a woman. She was incredibly compassionate, incredibly strong, driven, and successful. She was a trailblazer, larger than life, and just really something special. My earliest memories of my Aunt Marlyn was standing at the front window at my parents' home when she was coming home for a visit. And my brother and sister and I would say, we're going to count 12 cars and she'll be the 12th car. And 12 cars would go by. Okay, now it's going to be the 7th car. And we'd count. And it didn't matter how many cars we had to count, because when she came, we went crazy, because we knew our visit with her was going to be something special. To us, Aunt Marlyn was an amazing woman, small town girl, moved to the big city, got a big boy job. She was just like Mary Tyler Moore. But unlike Mary, she worked in the insurance industry, and as you've heard, strived more. She became the first female executive at the International Management Group, where she rubbed elbows with the best of the professional athletes. And as jobs go, it was something special. Aside from work, Aunt Marlyn loved to golf, although she never learned to golf until she met Uncle Warren. And she didn't just become a great golfer. She eventually became the president of the Cleveland Women's Golf Association, where she organized and competed in countless tournaments. And always striving for more, as we heard, she went on to become the first female board member of Beachmont Country Club. And she was really something special. But her time with family and friends was her most important to her. She was the ultimate hostess, and she, along with her sister Diane and her brother Bob, always wanted everything perfect, especially for the holidays. My cousins and I joke that there was the right way to do things, the wrong way to do things, and the Warner way to do things. And even at our ages now, if you didn't do it correctly, you were scolded. But it was only because they wanted the holiday to be something really special. The best thing she ever did was to marry Warren Ornstein. Their love was so sweet and so real. They were so affectionate and adoring and incredibly happy. I'd like to think that when she passed, Uncle Warren was waiting for her with a vodka martini. I also would like to think that her cats that had passed before her were waiting. And yes, it's true. Any of us would be lucky to come back as any one of her cats. Because she loved those babies, because they were something special. And I have no doubt that everyone here in this room has at least one, if not more, of their favorite memories with Aunt Marlyn. Because of Marlyn, we laughed hard. Because of Marlyn, we know we were loved hard. Because of Marlyn, we will grieve hard. Because Marlyn was something special. So I'm going to ask all of you here today to go out and do something special. Donate to a charity, adopt a rescue animal, assist an elderly neighbor, volunteer your time. Just go and make a difference. Make a difference like Marlyn Ornstein did, because she was really something special. Thank you.
The poet Ralph Waldo Emerson lived in the 1800s. He did not know Marlyn. But when I share these words with you that he penned, one might think he had her in mind. He writes on what it means to be a success. To laugh often and much, to win the respect of intelligent people and the affection of children, to earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends, to appreciate beauty, to find the best in others, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden path, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you lived. This is to have succeeded. Marlyn Ornstein succeeded. And so at this time, as we ask God to accept her soul, I ask those of you who are able to please rise for the memorial prayer, El Maleh Rachamim. El Maleh Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hamsemenocha Nechona Tachat Kanfech Ashchina, במלאות קדושים וטהורים, כזוכר הרקיע מסעירים. את נשמת יקירנו, שהלכה לעולמה בגן עדן, תהא מנוחתה. אהנה ברחמים אסתירהו, בסתר כנפך לעולמים, ותצרור בצרורך ימת נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה, ותנוח בשלום, על משכבו. V'nomar, Amen. O God, exalted and full of compassion, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure, to the soul of Marlyn Warner Ornstein, who has gone now to her eternal home. God of mercy, we beseech you to remember all the worthy and righteous deeds that Marlyn performed in the land of the living, and may her soul be bound up in the bond of life. God is her portion. May she rest in peace. And to this we say, Amen. Friends, I just want to share with you a couple brief announcements. If you wish, please be seated. We are going to process immediately to the Mayfield Cemetery. Following the interment, the family will receive visitors at Marlyn's residence at 32100 Shaker Boulevard in Pepper Pike. They'll receive visitors until 8 p.m. and also tomorrow from 1 until 4 p.m. As Rhonda described so beautifully, going forth and doing a random act of kindness or two today or the days to follow. Anyone who is wishing perhaps to make a contribution in memory of Marlyn, the family has suggested that maybe you might consider Rescue Village. On behalf of the entire family, we thank you for your love and support on this sad yet important day.
If there are any here who are already asked to be pallbearers, would you kindly step forward at this time, please?